No problem. Remember, we're going live in now we're live. Yes, everybody, my name is Elvis Chinwosu. I am the leader for Nigerian for Peace and Justice. And today I have this uncensored talk with Anambra First Son, one of Nigerians' most popular social media influencers on Twitter, a young talent, a leader who has actually, through his knowledge, has been encouraging and inspiring a lot of people, a lot of young people to actually seek peace and define hate. He is with me today to talk about a lot of things about Nigeria. Welcome, Anambra First Son.
Thank you for having me, Elvis. Thank you.
Yes, Anambra First Son, and we know you with this your image on Twitter, and you have over 140 followers on Twitter, and suddenly you disappeared. What happened?
Of course, I actually put 140,000 followers, and it's not the first time I'm losing the account. And social media is a very temporal place. It's a place where you come and go, and it could be as a result of the maybe the position you are taking, or the what you are preaching may be against certain individual or interest that will come in defense of what you are preaching. Then maybe it took attack against your person or your image or your account, and that was what I want to believe that happened. I received several attacks. I have been receiving a lot of that in recent past, especially since this election started, and a lot of funny accounts and not funny bot accounts have been invading my mentions, and so I expected this to happen, but I didn't know it will come very late. I expected it very earlier enough in the year because of my continued constant attack on the established, corrupt established institution, and of course unraveling the truth behind the scene and other things that I've been doing online. These are the things that have attracted a lot of attacks towards my direction. So it's not something that I do not foresee or do not envisage. It's something that I
Anyway,
actually
anyway, thank you for that. Thank you. I understand you. Thank you for that. It's only we miss that your heavy talk, straight talk. But what is it that motivates you? What is it that makes you stand different? Why Anambra First Son?
Elvis, we are in Nigeria where a large population, a large percentage of Nigerians are what I describe to be hypocritical. People who see white and label it black, people who see black and label it white. It's not just Nigeria, but when you microzone it within Nigerian space, you see that there is a large number of people who don't speak the truth to power. And that's what I have come to do. I speak truth to power. I say things the way they are. Um, Anambra First Son was born out of protest, at a time where people were, being labeled or categorized as, as backward, or people who are traders. Once you mention that you're from Anambra State, there is this stereotype that automatically attacks to you. And in order to battle a stereotype is to own your weakness and wear it like an armor, and becomes so that nobody will use it against you anymore. So when you see me, instead of thinking of calling me a trader, of course I'm already wearing that so-called weakness, and very boldly. And bearing Anambra First Son was something that ordinarily was very easy to come by, and I
So
stick with
so
that name, and taking me to where I am today.
so Anambra's First Son is actually an identity rebranding. You're trying to
Yes,
rebrand the Igbo man from Anambra, not to be
yes,
not to feel inferior that he's a trader, but that it is
exactly.
something to be sold.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
So what
Yeah,
what,
when
what
people want to throw debt at you, you own that debt and utilize it for something very good. And that's exactly what I did.
Thank you very much. Viewers, I see we have got almost 32 people following us live, but this broadcast will still be there for everybody. It might be having some technical problem because I'm sitting here in Shanghai, China, talking with Anambra first son, who is sitting somewhere in Onitsha. So, Anambra's first son, please, to be precise and concise, very short, how will you assess the Nigerian election so far? And how will you describe the emergence of P2B and the way the obedience are going? What are they doing right and what are they not doing fine? Please give us an answer.
The first, I would describe um, Nigerian election as intriguing, interesting, and very unraveling. There are so many things people never expected in this election, and the whole world is watching. Everybody is paying attention to Nigeria, thanks to the obedience movement. The movement started as a joke, and there were so many ridicules, and people, castigated them on social media, described them as nobody, condescendingly described them, and dismissed them totally because they do not have structure. But what has happened, or what is unfolding, has continued to shock, send a very strong wave across the length and breadth of the country. People are beginning to see that there is actually a wave of change. The young people are tired. The Nigerian people are tired generally, not just the young people. A lot of people attributed the movement to the oxygen that was left after the NSAS movement. But I want to tell you that it's not just the NSAS. There are other things, there are other elements that are fueling this movement. And I want to show you that this movement would change totally the way we operate politics in Nigeria. And it has come to stay and is going to yield something very great. And we are beginning to see a new Nigeria where people beyond, irrespective of their, a tribe, their religion and affiliation, identify with one language, which is obedience movement. Obedience movement signifies good governance. It signifies um, good governance, accountability, prudence, and this is what the principal officer of P2B represents. Someone that has managed a state like Anambra State with his track record, which I am a witness to. A lot of people have also witnessed that, have testified that he has a very verifiable track record, something that to reckon with. So with that in mind, and with the character of Peter B, having him in the race, it's something that has really altered the way and manner usually politicians operate in Nigeria, where they go about eating corn and maize and shouting their political slogans and cutting out each other. That was the usual norm. But what did Peter B do? He came into the stage and took it way beyond their reach. He went to Ivy League schools in international communities, reached out to diaspora, and going around the country, even at this point where flood has taken over the country, he has taken it upon himself to take that dauntless task to reach out to the people who have been affected. And that is something that Nigerians have never witnessed before. And that is where the election, the trajectory of Nigerian politics is headed to. So what I want to say in conclusion to what you asked, to obedience, people who are in the forefront to ensuring that a new Nigeria is achieved. Look, you are going to be distracted with so many condescending or distractions, with so many discouraging events and words. But you have to understand one thing. You have started something very big. You don't let that down. And at this point, we must not back down. We have to continue to preach this gospel, take it down to the grassroots, to the villages, because these are the people they are targeting. The political class are at a very big disarray because they don't know who they are dealing with, because almost everybody, every family has one or two obedience, and we are going to shock them come 2023. So that's what I have to say. I want to encourage all of us to be steadfast, be resolute, and don't back down, and continue to push the message. Wherever you find yourself, look beyond political affiliation or primordial, whatever pecuniary interest. Look beyond that, because what is ahead is bigger than what you are, you can imagine. So I want to yield here. Thank you, Elvis.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. You always inspire me. So now, where do you want to take your crusade to? Because I know soon you'll be rolling out your podcast. You also thinking of, carrying out media entity to counteract the often the hate narratives that we see. How will you, in your plans, what do you think is the problem of Ndibo? It looks like we have an image problem today in Nigeria where people distrust us, try to label us, and put marks on us. What would you advise us as Ndibo in this political election we are going with so that we can build alliances, seek consensus to everybody? Because Ndibo, we are global, we live everywhere in the world. So, what will you think are our shortcomings? Like as Chinua Achebe said, that our hubris and our way of behavior sometimes could be our strength and
Yeah.
our weakness. Let us close with that. Please, the platform is yours.
Yeah. Thank you so much. There's so much to unravel or to unpack on this very subject. I would like to say this election has again shown up something very interesting. It makes me realize that, look, we may have had issues in the past or have trust issues, but it is not entirely bad thing. The Nigerian state, the idea that Nigerian people or the other tribes hate Igbo people is not entirely true. We have a loud character attitude that may upset the next neighbor, which is true. We also have very serious ego that that can be very uncomforting to the next neighbor as well, which is also true. Now, what have we are yet to to do as a people is to understudy how to live peacefully and how to maneuver some of these things among our neighbors. If for you to live in peace and harmony with your neighbor, you have to first of understudy your neighbor, know where he or she has issues, or have something that he is not comfortable with. Then you know how to work around that, and that's what I think, in my opinion, that we have not really done so well. The way we operate naturally, we just operate as very extreme egalitarian society where everybody is entitled to to their own affairs and mind their business and so on. But a collective, in building a nation, in working towards having a nation like Nigeria, you have to factor so many things in, our diversity, our differences, and so on. So as Igbo people, I have always been, very concerned about the lack of media in Alibo, because I believe media is very important in shaping narratives, in forming opinions, and setting the rhythm of every society. And the lack of that has really cost us so much. If you look at the impact in the last couple of years, where we have been relegated sort of, or we have not really paid serious attention, and the little one we have delved into, the way and manner it has been operated, or they have been operated, is something that leaves so much to be desired. A lot of people, when you make reference to having media in South, they make reference to those field ones because of the experience. So, what I would say really is that there's need for serious dispelling of certain narratives, and of course, engaging in the area of the reorientation of the people on ways to reason, ways to think, on the new ways to approach things in life. There is nothing, and there's no society that thrives without dialogue, or without conversation, or without disagreement. There is no nation that that is successful on earth today without that element. So we need to have inculcate such in our culture, where we dialogue, in a very larger platform, where we see different perspectives and respect those perspectives, and of course build on a very preponderant argument from every aspect, or from every perspective. So These are the things that I believe strongly media can do, and we have really liked that greatly. I really would love to be part of those who would make serious impact on this aspect in our society as Igbo people. We live in across the globe, everywhere in the world, and we have not really seen the need to invest in our image making. I've always viewed the fact that the Igbo people we lack that part of storytelling where we tell our story and define ourselves properly before the world or before other people. We allow people to define us the way we want, and we care less about the impact because of the lack of collective among our, thinking. We have much more on, individualistic tendencies in this approach. We focus on building ourselves, my family, and my family alone, without looking at the bigger picture, which has to involve the bigger society. So again, it's something that the I feel like the Igbo elite have failed on that regard. They need to look back and see how they can rescue this. Because I don't want to delve into so many things now, but it has really cost us so much. If you look at what's happening in the South, is is something that I can attribute to lack of proper conversation, or something that's supposed to drive and grow a society is being allowed in the hands of people who do not drive or allow conversation, but just monologue. And it has really cost us so much. And it's something that we need to seriously wake up to before it becomes very late. So that's what I have to say now on that. And I believe strongly, because one of the things I know, the elements of the Igbo man is that when we learn, we overdo. We feel start late, but once we learn and start at any point, we always overtake. And that is something, that attribute is something that I really cherish about our people. We are fast learners and we are very good in delivery.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Anambra First Son. Um,
Thank you.
that is, I really buy into your nation that we need a strong media presence in Alibo that will counteract negative, narratives, counteract, mitigate against hate, and that we need to start starting it up. And I am very sure that this our program will continue because we have plans of having media workshops, and we will also be rolling out podcasts. We'll also be rolling out write-ups. We are coming out with different sets of program, which Anambra First Song will be powering. And you really touched on a lot of issue today. So viewers, we're coming to the conclusion of this our uncensored talk with Anambra First Son, a young leader who has inspired me, an old man, and inspiring most of us to on social media. Follow him on Twitter. I'm going to put up his Twitter handle on our scrolling, which you will see while he gives us his final note. Anambra First Son, on a last note, what will you tell the Nigerian youth today as we go on? How do we win this election? How do we retire these embezzlers masquerading as reformers?
Elvis, thank you for having me. I want to tell you that we have a very serious problem, and that is moral problem. We have come to the part where, at the point where people no longer have shame in Nigeria. So you see political leaders or people, leaders of thought, a lot of people see on TV, become boldly and shameless in doing many things that are, punishable, and they do that with so much impunity because of their power. And we have seen where people with political power have um, oppress the masses, oppress the ordinary people, and make them look like they're worth nothing. And this is the time Nigerian people, irrespective of your tribe or your background, your religion, to rise up against this very establishment. And they do not have anything, and it has been very obvious. They have been exposed. The only thing they have is money. And we have the strength, we have the capacity, we have the social capital, we have everything they don't have. They have money, they can bring out their money, they buy a lot of us, and divide us. But what we can do to sustain this and put them out of power is to unite with one accord and insist that the right thing should be done and believe strongly that we are heading to the right direction. Again, you don't need to look at your background or your affiliation to do this because if you are going to be boarding a plane and you have somebody from your place who is not qualified, you wouldn't board that plane because you'll be scared of your life. So you need to board the plane irrespective of the pilot, where the pilot comes from. You need to board the plane that the pilot is qualified, has the prerequisites to fly the plane, so that you'll be safe. And that's where we are at this point. We are boarding a Nigeria state right now, and we need a very qualified pilot to take us to where we want to be. Call it promised land, call it whatever you may call it. But we need a qualified pilot. And that's what I think strongly, that among these four contestants, people who are contesting this to become the president of Nigeria, the PTOB stands out. There is no two ways about that. There's no yardstick you bring to measure this that will not bring him take him at the top. And we have to acknowledge that and treat it accordingly. So thank you, Elvis, for having me. I really appreciate your time and the opportunity given to me to speak today to Nigeria.
Thank you very much, viewers, and thank you very much, Anambra Person. As you can see on our scrolling information down, follow Anambra Person on Twitter, Real Uche P. Okoye, and follow us also Nigerian for Peace and Justice, and you will see us. And we'll be back. We are very sorry for this technical if it's hanging, but the sound was good, and we are not pretending to be professionals. Like as Anambra Person said, we are starting to bring a diverse media to Alibo, a critical media, a platform both on social media, offline and online, that will counteract the negative narratives people have about Igbos and the inferiority complex often we go and the way we sell ourselves. We need to do something about that. And we've started. We are not going to say we are here, that we are professionals, but as you follow us, you will see the improvement we'll do. And then Anambra Person, I look forward to having you in Shanghai soon. Immediately China opens up, you know you're welcome. We're giving you a red carpet welcome. So thank you very much for this evening, and stay strong, stay safe, and keep waxing stronger.
Thank you.
Thank you, dear.